You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com. You're listening to Sexpot Radio, and here's a host, Jenny Cush.
Welcome, everyone. It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Tuesday, May 7th.
It's the day after yesterday.
It is the day after yesterday, and it's the day before tomorrow.
It is, too. Thank God, because I'm not ready for either.
Right?
Yestermorrow?
Yestermorrow?
I don't know. It's kind of nice outside. It's a little rainy, but it's kind of nice.
It is a little bit
It's a little rainy. It's a little sunny. There's a little lightning.
It's Colorado.
Don't you hate it when you can't get your fucking hash to roll up? You know, you just try to fold that shit and shit just keeps fucking falling out. I just wanted to bring that up. I fucking hate that.
Don't you hate it when your shatter explodes all over the table?
I do.
Not really explodes, but, you know, explodes.
It does. Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes. These things do happen.
They do.
It's all good, though.
There's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world. You know, I don't even know where to start. I probably am not going to start anywhere too far out there. But there's a couple of fun things that I want to talk about at some point in time.
What are you going to talk about? Just stuff?
A little preview, you know, there's a 105-year-old woman that says that she survived and bacon is what she eats all the time. It's good shit.
I used to know a lady that all she ever drank was buttermilk and vinegar. And she was like 120 when she died.
Fucking
and she like was still walking around, like she still like prepared her own breakfast and shit till those last like 6 months, man. Like
the question comes down to, do you really want to live that long? I mean, I guess if you're rocking strong.
Like she had a good life. Like she was living a quality life. That's where quality over quantity comes in. Like you want to live forever and have a shitty quality of life, like, you know.
Right.
I mean, if I'm stuck in a bed and like I can't go to the bathroom on my own and shit, like I don't wanna live that long. But if I still got all my shit together and like I can make it to the toilet, I want to live that long.
Okay, I can get down with that logic. That works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about all the fucking crazy things that happened last night in Congress here in Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, the repeal talks seem to be moving forward a little bit. I still think that ties in with the tax. I'm not sure. I've read different varying stories, so it's hard to know. Heard that the DUI thing passed, but is it official yet? Or is it just past this and it's got to go to that? But I'm sure it's, who knows? Well, it probably just needs to be signed. Fuck. See, so we'll talk to Warren Edson here in a little bit about that, because I'd really like to know what the fuck... You know, like, how can they possibly repeal shit? It's like, here, look, voters voted on an amendment to legalize freedom, and what, a fucking couple of dickhead senators can just be like, no, we're gonna repeal that, or extort you and say, well, if you don't pay a 30 or 40% tax. So let me put it out there real quick. What a 30% tax on weed would be. If you go out to the store, you buy a $300 ounce. Yeah, 30% of that.
It's $90.
That's damn near a $400 ounce right there. So you're going back to street prices, or what they used to be. I don't know what it is now. Or
out-of-staters can only buy a quarter.
Yeah, see, so.
But you know, that's probably just like I kind of understand the non-resident people only being able to buy a quarter. Like, you know what? If you want to buy more than a quarter here in Colorado, fucking move to Colorado. Yeah. I mean. That's just to prevent it from being trafficked out of state.
Well, and that's the thing. If you want to go take a road trip anywhere, if you live here, you're already running the risk of getting profiled. But, you know, so it for a while, out-of-staters were safe. But as soon as those retail stores go in, fuck. Good fucking luck. Come to Colorado. We used to have a saying here back in the day. Just come to Colorado on vacation, leave on probation. So, you know, just watch your shit.
Right.
Here in the near future. I like I said in the beginning, there's a lot of new fights that are going to come with this, what people thought was legalization. You know, it's... I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Right now, isn't it legal to have weed? You can have, without a red card, just up to an ounce. Just
up to an ounce, yeah. Of course. As long as you're over the age of 21.
If they really do pass that DUID bill... that means that at any point in time, they can pull you over and claim suspicion and just take your DNA. So think about that, people. You may not smoke weed. You just may be fucking tired driving home. You have a cracked windshield or one of your turn signal
driving
lights
tired is worse than driving intoxicated.
Right, but
I mean, in
but
all
the point
honesty,
is
like
all you have to do is get pulled over for something totally nonchalant. You know, that crack in your windshield, that light that flickers, that turn signal that's out. You know, just that anything. Fucking people keep saying, well, if you don't break the law, you won't get pulled over. Bullshit. It fucking happens. It happens. And they can stop you and say, well, we think that you might be high. Stick out your fucking finger. And they just take your blood. Right there, they've got your DNA. They've got blood sample. Welcome to the fucking police state.
They already have my DNA.
Right, but this is a free America where you have to submit to radiation and a frisking or, you know, that scan at the airport. You're treated like a criminal all the time. You want to get on this airplane, and it's, you know, I get it. I went through it. I get it. Kind of makes you feel safer, kind of not.
Right.
But it is what it is. But in the land of the free, people need to wake up because this is not freedom.
Freedom's an illusion in this country.
A fucking man.
In all honesty. But, you know.
So speaking of freedom, I don't know if people have heard, the guitarist for Slayer, Jeff Hanneman, died recently, and which is terrible because Slayer's like, I mean, they're fucking Slayer. They're probably my favorite metal band between them and Pantera.
Right.
And there's rumor has it that Westboro Baptist Church plans to picket his funeral. And it's like, fucking, that's where I want to be. I want to be there, at, you know, where you've got thousands upon thousands of Slayer fans versus little fucking dumbass, ignorant, bigoted, fucking religious nutcases. That would be so awesome. Fuck, God, see, just saying it like that, it's like, yeah, fuck, let's go. Where's this at?
Let's go picket their picketing.
Picket their picketing. I just want to sit down and film that shit.
It's
That's
all
gonna
right
be
to
epic.
picket their picketing, though.
Yeah, that would be boring. It's just going to be sweet. It's going to be an ultimate mosh pit. I mean, moshing is fun. It's harder the older I get, but Slayer mosh pits are fucking for real.
Right.
You get your fucking arm ripped off in the Slayer mosh pit. Seriously, you think that shit's funny?
Get your arm ripped off and get your ass beat with it.
I'd like to go to a Slayer show, but I don't know if that's going to happen for a while.
Right.
You know, hopefully it's not like Pantera and it's done. Although Pantera was done before Dime was killed, so Slayer is going to rock forever. Although it's better that they didn't because they're too good to turn out like fucking Rolling Stones. You can just see Slayer at 75 up there rocking out now. You know, hitting the Grizzly Rose on a Sunday night.
Grizzly Rose.
You know, in the year 2029, Slayer coming to the Grizzly Rose live.
Yes.
So,
oh my God.
Good luck, Westboro Baptist Church. I fucking wish I could be there to see you
Knock
get yours.
yourselves out.
You know, you're gonna get knocked out, all right.
Speaking of people passing away, on April 29th, Albert Hoffman passed away.
That was 4 years ago.
Was that 4 years ago? Was it really?
5 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that last number's pretty key.
Right.
But hey, his 5 year. It was a big thing. Everyone was making.
It was totally a huge thing recently.
So really, if you got people are making a huge deal out of his blotter art, or out of blotter art with his images. Yes. You know, it doesn't even have to have doses on it. It just.
Have you seen any of his blotter art?
I've seen stuff.
What does his blotter art look like?
Oh, his personal? Oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm like, wait, what?
No, you know, I'd spin into the blotter art.
What are you talking about?
Nothing to do with acid, but it is.
It's art.
It's blotter paper. You know, typical 900 squares, but there's no drugs on it. It's just art. It's just cool because it's on blotter paper.
Right.
And you could put acid on it.
If you so chose.
If you have that much, fucking power to the people, whatever.
Right. That's a lot.
So, yeah.
It'd be a great weekend. I'm kidding.
So, I've seen some of your news stories, and there's some crazy shit going on.
I have some weird news stories. Like, dude, you know, somebody's going to have to clear the history on my computer when I'm gone. It's all good. My parents are going to think I'm a freak. They already do. Who am I kidding? So anyway, the month of May is National Masturbation Month.
That's fantastic. I think I've practiced once or twice. Celebrating. This month it's celebrating. Every other month it's practicing.
Practicing for the month of May.
It's stamina building. I don't know.
Yeah, the month of May is National Masturbation Month. It is. What
the fuck is
It's a flower on a cactus. Jesus, freaking out. Like, I don't know what you thought that was, but...
It looks like one of those rainbow bomb popsicles that looks like a dildo. It's from a side angle. It's weird.
Okay.
But it looks much cooler from your angle, so...
Yeah, it's a flower on a cactus. It's all good. Anyway, nobody else can see it. It's just us looking at this.
Could be anything. Look, there's a spaceship right there.
The celebration of May as National Masturbation Month actually began in 1995 in San Francisco as a response to the forced resignation of the U.S. Surgeon General Joyce Elders. After a speech at the United Nations World AIDS Day in 1994, an audience member asked Elders about masturbation potential for discouraging early sexual activity. She answered, "I think it is something that is part of human sexuality and part of something that perhaps should be taught." That was the end of Elders' career as America's first black Surgeon General. Well, I got things just popping up. Scary pop-ups. See, you look up sex stories and you get a bunch of scary pop-ups all over your computer, too. Then you have to go get rid of your viruses and shit.
Where's that person's eyes? It looks like a mask.
Okay, so anyway, that was the end of Elders' career in America's career as America's first black Surgeon General. But the spark for National Masturbation Month. Offended by Elders' Oster? God, I can't even read today. The ever-progressive pro-sex staff of San Francisco's sex toy and educational company Good Vibrations decided to find a way to keep the focus on Elders' unjust firing and to bring talk about masturbation into the mainstream in just the way Elders had envisioned. Realizing the large number of folks lacked support and advice to help them enjoy the simple, basic act of masturbation, Good Vibrations sought to provide support, advice, and reassurance for people looking to open their own personal sexual horizons. And so was born National Masturbation Month. Among the first steps Good Vibrations took was to promote masturbation as a healthy, safe, natural way to express one's sexuality, thereby removing much of the shame and stigma have colored the act of masturbation. But,
I blame religion.
yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a sin to touch yourself. Don't get off or nothing. But touch little kids. I'm sorry. I fucking hate the Catholics.
I know.
That's my attack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. This is an adult show. If there are children present, you should probably not have them around because this is an adult show, and things like the words vagina and penis and fuck and dickhole tend to frequently get used in worse ways than there. This is not okay for a 5 or 10-year-old. You do not want them repeating what we are saying. Get them the fuck out of the room. Thank you. I was meaning to say that at the beginning of the show, and I just fucking flaked it. I was going to say something else there, actually.
Right.
But
I think we need to make our own little public service announcement commercial for opening the show.
Yeah.
Our good friend Scott wants to come down and do some voiceovers and stuff with me here in the very near future. So I'm thinking that him and I could come up with something pretty good.
Sure that some shit could get worked on.
So anyway.
I was going to say, this is not a hash pen. This is an e-cigarette. Even the fucking... The
cable, or the internet guy today.
Guy came over.
He was all excited because he thought you were getting high.
He's like, he's like, what do you say? Something about, like, I see you enjoying your e-pen, man. I enjoy mine too, man. Have a good night. And he's I'm like, yo, man, this thing has nicotine in it. It's very low-level nicotine, so I ripped the fuck out of it. If this was hash, I wouldn't be standing here talking to
you're all, I need to get up and go to work at some point today.
I got shit to do, man.
So anyway, more
Today was
about-
Science Day at work, so I just want to throw that out there. It was an awesome day.
Okay.
Gonna leave that one hanging there? Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
Were you going somewhere?
Well, we were talking about masturbation.
Oh yeah, see, and there's things that make me want to masturbate at work, and it has nothing to do with people.
Adam, be careful.
Yeah, watch out, fuckface.
Be careful, Goober. Run! Know where the exit is.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, just kidding.
It's not like that. Sometimes it's the fun things that we do.
What do you do at work?
Today, we turned butter into shatter, which is fantastic because that's, once shit's changed over, it's a little hard to do things, but without winterizing. Yeah. So we're not saying anything quite yet about how we're doing it. We just got to test it. I would have been there for the finish of it, but I had to be here. So, but it was probably within an hour and a half of the first little couple of grams being done.
I turned hash in coconut oil and then in the Snickers bars.
So one standard sized jar of I just don't even want to. It's just fantastic. It's good shit. That was nice. That was a nice thing to see.
I personally think that a good way to make your coconut oil is to mix 1 gram of hash into 1 tablespoon of oil. I feel that it should be that potent. Okay. Well, when you buy organic coconut oil, it just so happens that there are 28 tablespoons in 1 jar. So it requires 1 ounce of hash. It just works out nice that way. Easy math.
So one of those jars is magic.
Magic.
And then it magic.
And it makes more magic.
It does.
Like Snickers. So, yeah. Yeah.
See, magic is fun.
Yes.
Sex and pot.
See, you do sciencey stuff at work, and I do sciencey stuff at home.
That's nice. Science is fun. Science
Just
is
really
fun.
glad I know math.
See, science is encouraging, It's not like you go to work and you're like, oh, man, God's going to... I don't even know how to crack a joke on it. I haven't cracked a good religion joke in a while. But it's fun to go to work and or to even live life and think about stuff from a sciencey point of view. Like, oh, how does that work? Ooh, how does that work? Ooh, what's going on over there? What's going on here? That's so much better than a closed-minded view. Like, oh, the Earth was made 6,000 years ago by an invisible being, a father figure who lives far, far away in the clouds. Until you get in the clouds and you realize that they're not actually tangible, so he must be in outer space. So maybe the Mormons have it right. Maybe he's out on a different planet. But then the universe is huge. So how do we live so close? That's weird. Is that the right God? Or is it just an alien who got lost? Who knows? Forgot where I was even going with that. Fuck religion. Spirituality's good. God's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that shit. Just organized religion. Oh, yeah, closed-mindedness. Closes down your mind. Yeah. Not that science has everything right, but that's just more of a organized way of trying to look
But
at
science
things.
is willing to admit that they don't have everything right.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Just like anybody else.
I'm always right. Most of the time.
Is that vagina law thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I think you're crazy.
You think I'm crazy?
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Well, that was cool. Watching the screen, it was all fire. No fire.
Fire.
Just smoke.
Just smoke. Just smoke. So, anyway, we were talking about National Masturbation Month.
And hash.
And hash.
Can you masturbate and smoke hash?
If you want to.
You might fall
Or if you have
You
somebody
can
else
masturbate
there,
and smoke
you could have
hash.
somebody, you could have your girlfriend jerk you off while you take a dab, or you could jerk off.
That's team
while
masturbation.
yeah, team masturbation is fun.
Teamwork.
It really is, and it's a good, healthy way to actually boost your relationship without actually doing anything because, your brain tends to go into a overdrive when you're. Okay, maybe it's different for dudes. I don't know what the hell goes through a fucking chick's mind when they're doing it. I don't know how that works, but guys, it's all the blood tends to go one spot, and the other one's sort of one-tracked, thinking all kinds of crazy things. So it's where masturbation kind of comes in good, because it allows a couple to do stuff with each other without doing things, but explore the more mental side of things to see where your boundaries are and what someone's, at least thinking.
Oh, dude, I just totally thought about something.
Obviously. Please share.
Sorry, I don't know if I should share it.
Okay, maybe you should.
So, if your girlfriend's masturbating and she, finishes, don't expect her to put out, okay? That's just, her asking you to fuck her after you jerk off, okay?
Yep.
I just, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just because we can go more than once doesn't mean we want to.
See, okay, well, that's a good way of looking at it. Except, I don't know, whatever.
What? Where are you going to go with that?
I'm just going to laugh about it. Because really it's just funny.
Well, usually if a woman masturbates, it's because, she has a specific goal. And once she gets to that goal, really, honestly, why try to get to the goal over again?
I don't know. Why does a woman need fucking 10 or 15 orgasms during a session?
Exactly.
I've never said that I need 10 or 15.
No, I don't mean you. I'm sorry.
Right.
I just
But
figured
you know
you're
what
defending
I mean?
the female. I'm defending the male. Sort of. Probably not well.
Once
I'm just
not
defending me, really. And still probably not well. So, it's... When a girl, you're like, oh, you're done? No? Okay. You're still going? Okay. No? Okay. Hey, sometimes girls just go forever and ever. This may not be a safe road to go down because I'm high and I'm not really thinking. I just want to, I like to argue sometimes.
It's all right. Keep going.
No,
Keep
see,
going.
okay. Maybe I know when a hole's being
Where
dug.
the sidewalk ends.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
But I don't know. I'm not really afraid to go there, so whatever.
Oh, no. I know. Did you know that only 38% of women admit that they masturbate?
That means that, 67% are
Liars.
big fucking pansies? It'd be nice to know what the... I don't know, what the fuck is that?
Who's got a vibrator in here?
Sorry.
Well, technically it's vibrating, so...
So it's a
I
vibrator.
put on the wrong underwear today.
Oh, yeah. Is there a remote? But actually only 61% of men admit that they masturbate too.
Those guys are pussies, too. Because...
Honestly, I would have
it's
thought,
there.
why would you not admit to it if you're doing it? Why?
I don't know, because you were bred as a child to be ashamed of these things.
Right?
As opposed to...
Put them on speaker.
Yeah, you should have put that. You should have shared that shit with the
fuck?
class. Yeah, yo, you're on air now.
Oh, well, shit, we could talk about insurance. Can I have a Butterfinger?
Whose is it?
I don't know.
You better pass it to somebody.
What the fuck?
Well, whose bag is that?
It's probably Tim's. Tim, we're eating your Butterfingers.
Well, I'm not gonna. If it's not anybody's in here, nope, I'm good. Nope.
You're such a pussy.
I
I'll
am.
eat two.
Okay. I'm good though.
It's okay. Tim, I'm eating your Butterfinger if you're listening.
Well, it might not be Tim's, so
If it's
don't just
not-
associate that. Because he might be like, wait, I had some Butterfingers, and it was somebody else's. Maybe it was from last night. Maybe it was from the Georgia show. No,
If this was Georgia's, she would want me to eat them.
could have been. Are you gonna really eat that right in front of the microphone?
I'm doing it on purpose.
Oh, okay. I feel bad talking over your crunching then. Sorry.
Dude, you always do that kind of shit, all wrapping candy and shit and eating Smarties and stuff. Will you hand me your water now? I came unprepared.
Well, you tried though. I heard that you packed your water. So wait, what were we talking about earlier? That was When are we gonna call Warren?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah. So, whoa. Data shows that young women seem to warm up to masturbation more slowly. Women between 20 and 39 years old were the most enthusiastic masturbators, and women 18 to 20 and those over 40 masturbate less.
18 to what?
18 to 20 and those over 40 masturbate less than women between the ages of 20 and 39.
When do women usually reach menopause?
About 40, 45. Like, okay, so, like, I've been kind of scared because, like, my mom went through menopause at, like, 36. I'm 33, 34. How old am I?
I think you're 30.
I'm 34.
I think you're 34.
I don't know. I don't know how old I am all of a sudden.
I think you just turned 34.
So I'm kind of scared. Like, I gotta say, like,
You look like you're 22.
I'm a lot older than 22.
See, enjoy
So,
it now.
yeah.
Enjoy it now.
Sam, your nose is a little brown.
I think you'll get menopause when you reach 80.
What?
I think you probably reach out menopause when you reach 80.
What is the?
When are you,
What
J.D.?
is exactly?
That would be some weird shit if
Menopause
a woman
is
was 75 years old and
when
still...
your body actually... Menopause is when your body stops creating the hormones that actually make you produce an egg every month. So basically you just stop making eggs. But your hormones go away or get lesser. And so shit dries up and like you go
Y'all
through
spit on it more.
hot flashes and shit.
Can't be doing it in the summer if you got cotton mouth. You're like, honey, I just don't got no spit left. I'm sorry.
We ran out of our drinking water.
Ah, fuck. I hope we don't ever get to that point. I've run out of the drinking water. Not that it's that dry. I mean, I hope we don't ever get to that fucking point either.
I heard that dabs really help with the hot flashes.
Yes, actually, cannabis helps very much with all of the symptoms of menopause. Let me see here. I know, like, hot flashes are a big thing. I'm afraid of it, so I just kind of ignore it. Symptoms. Oh my gosh. So basically, like, when you do reach menopause, you can take hormone therapy. So instead of birth control pills, it's just another hormone pill that you can take to, like, you know,
Keep the shit going.
keep shit working. Gain weight, you get moody.
When it stops working or when you take the pills?
When you take the pills, then, like, things get better.
Damn drugs.
Or you can just, like, give up and, like, go through the shit and just be done with it.
It gets wet again.
Wet. That's what lube's for.
That's exactly.
I'm a huge fan of lube, okay?
Yeah, but you don't need it.
No?
You're like a living tube.
What the fuck? Like a living tube of lube? Like, what the
Living tube of lube.
fuck, dude?
See, I told you this is a fucking adult show. Hope
Just
your kid's not in
referred
the
to
room.
as a living tube of lube. Fucking A. Like, oh my god.
Oh, so is it still National Masturbation Month?
It
Like,
is
yeah, it's only the
still
7th. That's
National
awesome.
Masturbation Month.
So hey, are you? All right. So hey, this.
I'm talking to people online. What? Okay, 105 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 105-year-old woman says eating bacon every day is her key to long life, and this is from the Raw story, so it's not like an Onion article. Gotta watch out for those. A couple of these other sites too. You gotta watch the fuck out for.
I get all my news from The Onion. What are you talking about?
Shit. Well, in front. Wait, you watch Fox News too? Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I do.
about the same equivalent.
The Onion seems a little bit more legit.
Fox, it is. So, 105-year-old woman from Richland, Texas, says that the key to long life is bacon. That's fucking awesome. Pearl Cantrell's love of bacon is so strong that the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile made a stop through the town last week to wish her a happy birthday, all because she told a local news station her amazing secret. I love bacon. I eat it every day, she told a reporter for Abilene-based Big Country homepage in April. I don't feel as old as I am. That's all I can say. And it goes on, but really, bless motherfuckers for surviving on bacon.
Bacon.
Now, bacon may not be for everybody. Don't consult your doctor. Just eat some and see what happens. And if it's not for you, you'll know.
Wow.
And if it is for you, you'll know too. Well, really, what does your doctor know? Your doctor knows how to sell drugs and what he learned in school. I'm not saying your doctor's dumb, not your doctor, or your doctor. But I just think that people should question more shit instead of settling.
Speaking of questioning things, actually, this particular friend I think may actually be. Wait, did you want to finish?
Live forever by eating bacon.
Yeah.
This statement is not guaranteed.
What the fuck was I gonna say? Okay, we're gonna take a quick commercial here, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about
Bacon?
No.
No, fuck bacon.
Oh my god.
Don't fuck bacon. They would get weird.
That'd be gross. But I want to talk about understanding your body and knowing what's going on with it when you start taking new medications and stuff.
All right,
Okay.
that sounds like a good plan.
The chocolatiers at Incredibles are dedicated to crafting the finest chocolate from high-quality ingredients to ensure the greatest possible medicated edibles in the world. Consistency and quality are top priority. Lab testing on each and every batch. Rick and Josh have been making non-medicated chocolates for years for such retail outlets as Whole Foods and Vitamin Cottage. Today, we are focused on crafting our award-winning medicated Incredible chocolate bars. We are professional bakers, and we believe food should be made from scratch. We guarantee your satisfaction. Have an incredible day.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
River Rock Wellness, located at 4935 York Street and on the corner of 6th and Calumet, right next to Lamar's Donuts at 990 West 6th Avenue, offers in-house, award-winning organic medical cannabis flowers, concentrates, tinctures, topicals, edibles, and raw superfoods for all patients. Prices range from $160 to $240 an ounce, with member and non-member benefits including caregiver, SSI, SSDI, vets, travelers, and sponsored programs. With brands you trust like Healthy Creations, Rare Dankness, Rock Butter, Priva, Token Daily, and more. Become a River Rock patient or renew with us today and receive a $100 ounce of choice. Offer good through April 20th, 2013.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
And we're back. Welcome to Sex Power Radio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yay. Welcome.
So I just want to throw out there really quick that we're 4 weeks from right now, we will not be doing a Sex Pot Radio show. 4 weeks from now will be Tuesday,
be camping.
June something. I don't know why I pushed that button. That's not the calendar button. It'll be like June 3rd or 4th, whatever. We will not be doing a show. We will be out of town.
Yes.
So just wanted to bring that up.
But there will be a show.
There will be something happening here.
Something will happen.
And there will be something happening elsewhere.
There will be something happening where you're at. I don't
Exactly.
know. You might be masturbating. I don't know.
All right. And was there a
What?
I don't know. That was a brain fart. That's how that works.
Dude, I've been kind of out of it all day. Like, I don't know. I got sick earlier.
I have one more small news story
I don't
that
know
I want to jump through real quick. No,
Okay.
I'm going to save it for later because I may want to talk about it a little bit more.
Okay,
I
so
think it's funny.
I wanted to bring something up about common allergies from medication and when to not listen to your doctor, maybe. So I had a friend post the other day saying that like her lips were swelling and stuff, and the doctor told her that it was nothing to worry about.
Her lips are okay. I could have been Gina Lips for all I know. Oh my God, is this the wrong radio show?
So some common symptoms if you're having an allergic reaction to a medication that you're on, or any allergic reaction, as far as like breathing goes, wheezing, shortness of breath, coughing, like abnormal coughing, not like you took a dab and you started coughing. Tightness in your throat, if your throat feels like it's kind of restricting at all, or it's tightness in your chest, difficulty swallowing, or if you're sneezing, get a really stuffy nose, things that aren't like your normal everyday like kind of thing. If you've been taking a medication and all of a sudden you have these symptoms, it's definitely something to be aware of. Some other things that have to do with like your circulation throughout your body, low pulse rate. If your pulse rate's super slow, dizziness, if you're lightheaded at all, chest pain, super low blood pressure, any loss of consciousness when you take a medication. Definitely, be aware of these things.
So you mean if you're just chilling and all of a sudden you wake up somewhere else, it's probably a bad thing?
Probably not a good thing, at least,
That's not good.
As far as like your skin goes, if you have any hives, for people that don't know what hives look like it's red, blotchy bumps all
If your skin does not look healthy after
if your
taking a
skin
medication,
does not look normal after taking a medication, there may be something wrong. Any swelling, like your lips, ears, hands, feet, any of that kind of stuff, any itching, redness, any kind of rash. Those things are not normal. Not normal. Any like stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, anything like that from medication that you're taking. Any anxiety, if your eyes get super itchy or watery, headaches, confusion, any slurred speech, or a metallic taste in your mouth. These are all symptoms of an allergic reaction to medication. Another thing to be aware of is antidepressants, like such as Wellbutrin and those kind of medications. You may not actually have like any signs of having an allergic reaction when you initially take the medication, because what these medications do is they actually like build up in your system over time. So they actually don't reach like their peak levels in your blood system until you've been taking them for a couple of weeks. So definitely something to like really be aware of, like notice if there's any changes in your body. And if your doctor says that it's normal for you to like have swollen mouth or itch or something because of a medicine, no, that's not normal. That is an allergy. And it could get bad.
that's why they say some side effects may include blah,
Right.
blah, 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 death,
Right.
herpes, suicide.
Well, and I know from personal experience that like I said with Wellbutrin, because of the way that it builds up in your system, you can actually take it for 2 to 3 weeks before you actually have any sign of an allergic reaction. You can have like light itching and stuff, like your skin will feel dry and itchy, and you can wake up in anaphylactic shock if you don't pay attention to these things. So you definitely need to like be aware, know your body. Just know your body.
Well, how do you know your body well enough to know if you're taking a pill and it doesn't show signs of fucking with you for 2 or 3 weeks? So is it
But
like...
if you're taking a pill and gradually over time as you're taking this, like you tend to get itchier and itchier and those kind of things, be aware of that.
Right.
These
Well,
aren't
I just
things
thought you were
like-
talking
No,
about like saying like Prozac. You got to take Prozac for a while, and then it takes
Right.
a while for it to kick in, and then once you stop taking it, it still stays in your body and functions for a while.
Right.
That's why it's dangerous just to stop.
Right.
So is that like that? You take that Wellbutrin and it builds up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you're fucked for weeks.
Actually, I ended up in the hospital for about a week having it pushed out of my system through IVs.
Wow.
Because of the way that it builds up in your system. So, it's just something to be aware of. What else was I going to say? Prozac is, like, anything that alters your mood, like, in a crazy way, be really aware of that as well.
Like marijuana?
Like Adderall.
Moonawana? Moonawana.
Adderall is
Marijuana?
like super bad. Adderall,
That's what I was on.
I hate Adderall. I really hate Xanax. People that take Xanax for fun, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking.
When you take Xanax for fun, it's bad. There's people that just get all crazy.
Some people have a very adverse effect to these medications.
They push you down. I can't fuck. God damn it, I tried.
This isn't funny.
There's certain parts you gotta laugh. Certain parts not. Anaphylactic shock is nothing to laugh
No,
at.
but like Xanax, Prozac, they can cause like insanely horrible like
Psychotic episodes.
psychotic episodes.
Like, let's just cut to the chase. Like, Xanax, I've seen people take Xanax and go fucking, Jesus Christ.
Crazy.
I mean, it's possible that, like, if you were to set a gun on the desk, it would do 0. But if somebody, I don't want to get into the gun debate. Jesus Christ, I almost did. Sorry.
So yeah.
There's somebody somewhere masturbating. I just wanted to point that out there. And it could be you, whoever's listening. So thank you. It's appreciated.
Thanks for calling me out.
Chris really in the studio? Like, come on, man.
This was a porn studio.
Help me spring lotion.
You gotta go.
So yeah, anyway, like I said, just be aware of your own body if you are taking new medications. Keep track of the things that are going on. Call your doctor. If your doctor says that there's nothing wrong with that, question them. Call another doctor.
And remember that people at dispensaries are not doctors. Unless they claim to be doctors and they're filling out your paperwork, then it's possible. But the people behind the counter probably don't know your body. So if you go in and say, well, I'm having back spasms and this and that, they may be able to push you in the right direction, but don't take what they're saying as gospel.
Right.
Because you may end up taking something that may work absolutely the wrong way for you. You just got to take small doses and pay attention
Right.
to your body.
Just know your shit, man.
Are you saying that your body communicates with
It like tells you stuff.
itself?
It does.
Well, see, so that's kind of funny. Your body communicates with you, but who's you? Who are you? Not who's Jenny Cush, I guess. But where's you? Who's the you? When we talk about you, not your body dies, but there's you.
My mannerisms.
Yeah. So where are you at? Listener, where are you at? You're not your eyes. Probably not your brain.
Is your poop floating or sinking to the bottom of the toilet?
If it's hovering in the middle, you're doing all right.
Floating, you're doing good.
Right? So way to fucking braid the
I know.
cord.
Like, I'm a fidgeter. Yes.
I'm getting excited about calling Warren here soon. We still got 15 minutes, but I'm not necessarily excited, but I want to hear what's going on
Right.
a little bit better than reading different stories. And
I'm calling him on his cell.
yeah,
From the Daily Doobie.
yeah, I saw that picture. That's pretty sweet.
Craziness.
It had to be. It'll probably be in the fucking High Times magazine, man. That's a
What?
crazy ass tattoo.
Are we calling him on his cell?
Let me see. I'm not sure. 8861 number. That number.
9473.
I'm not giving out the whole number. 8675309. Wait, what?
Yeah.
That is actually a phone number in Denver, Colorado. 303-867-5309.
And I'm sure they get that fucking call all the time, and they're like, "Is Jenny there?" Or what's her name? It's Jenny, right?
Yes.
Fuck, it's been a while since I heard that song, except that part.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, fuck, dude. God damn it. Like, I
Yeah.
always get sidetracked by shit and
Boobies.
boobs. Boobs sidetrack me more than anything. Like, I swear to God,
Squirrel?
I'm worse than any dude, I think. Like, I'll be trying to do something, like, trying to type something out and, like, doing research and shit, and I get sidetracked by a sudden boobs. I'm, like, lost for, like, 20 minutes. Like, what the fuck?
And I got yelled at during the fucking No One Left Standing show. because it was like, oop, ass, oop, ass.
I did
oop,
not
boobs,
yell
oop,
at you.
retarded person. And for
Nobody
those offended
yelled
by
at
retarded,
you.
fuck off.
Nobody yelled at you.
Not yelled. I'm sorry. I just say yelled when it's like spoken too harshly. Are you fidgeting? Stop it.
Are you saying that I spoke harshly to you?
I could be saying that.
Meaning he is.
Don't get all fucking harsh with me.
I was trying to have a conversation on a radio show with you, and you were so busy looking at asses coming out of the bathroom.
You
Drunk
sat
asses.
in an awesome spot.
Right.
You know?
But it was a little hard to carry on a conversation. Plus,
Well-
I had to keep coming and finding you.
Well, it's awesome when you keep coming. But you know, it's don't yell at me for don't harsh my gig for being a dude. Like that rarely happens. We sat in the primo spot. You started it. I just went with it and forgot to stop. This is my fault. I'm not trying to pass the buck. But it was fun. See, okay, so that goes down another path, fellas. Watch out when your girlfriend says, yeah, I think girls are fine too. That doesn't mean that you can always look at that shit. Because when you do, it doesn't always work, especially if you're trying to have a conversation
You have
on
to
a radio
remember
show.
to pay attention to your girlfriend and actually maintain a conversation with her.
Well, sometimes if there's an ass going by, I don't know.
You just got to remember that your girlfriend's ass is the priority.
That was like a one time. It always is. It's the only ass I slap. Usually.
No.
Not all the time. I guess I fuck with a lot of people, but not like that. To those that don't know, that's gonna come out all weird. But whatever. It's not.
Oh my god.
Whatever. It's not that. It's nothing like that.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's okay. I'm only gonna beat you a little bit when we get home.
Shit, whatever. Let's go outside right now.
Want to take this outside?
I do.
You coming at me?
You coming at me, bro? We're at the lawyer's office.
We're gonna call our attorney here in a minute.
We are. Have a little chat with him.
So masturbation month.
Are we back to that?
Well, we never really finished.
There was was there a 5K masturbation run thing that you had open?
I have a sex toy race on my computer, which actually I think what I will do is send this over to our producer.
Like what I'm hoping
And in
that,
a little
that
bit we can
she's
play
talking
that.
about is a bunch of hot ass lesbians with strap-ons racing each other down the street.
You're funny.
We can always hope, right?
Oh, silly boy.
Oh wait, I remember the sex toy races now.
Yes.
It's more like a giant craps table style thing where it's lengthy
Right.
card table and dildos chase each other.
Yes. So there is a sex toy race
Literally
in Vegas.
is a sex toy. Oh, in
So
Vegas.
anyway, there's a masturbate-a-thon.
That might have been what I saw on your screen.
Masturbate-a-thon 2013
Yeah,
in
that's
Philadelphia celebrates National Masturbation Month.
Wow, you can't fucking.
It's a big picture of banana.
Isn't it like glass cannabis utensils
Wait,
illegal
wait.
there? But you can.
This fundraiser is a stroke of genius.
Apparently it is.
Philadelphia's first masturbate-a-thon began on Wednesday to mark this beginning of National National Masturbation Month. But it won't finish until May 27th, Philadelphia Magazine reports, and everyone's excited. Everyone, even the Catholics.
Do they know about it? I hear the Catholics in Philadelphia are pretty fucking brutal.
Okay, wait.
Oh, it gets better?
Sponsors can donate money for every hour that participators spend being charitable.
Interesting.
Profits go to local sex education groups like Screw Mart and Pleasure Rush. Fundraising.
Screw Mart.
Oh, Screw Smart. I can't read. It's okay.
Oh, it's like Screw Mart. That's
Fundraising efforts can be logged on CrowdRise SexPotRadio.com. Through the event, the site hopes to ignite conversations that reduce the stigma around expressing sexuality, promote sexual health, and emphasize the importance of pleasure. On May 30th, the Thursday after the event ends, folks are invited to attend Creamium, a game show and dance party where prizes like the most creative fantasy, most pleasure connections, and most money raised will be handed out. Enjoy. Awesome, dude.
Right on.
Masturbate-a-thon.
Get your beat on.
Get your beat on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some shit.
Get your beat off.
Get your beat off. Get your beat off on.
So yeah,
Take a left,
dude, that's
right?
actually,
Right on.
fucking America, dude.
It is. It's awesome. So,
We may not have the freedom to fucking drive high, but we got the freedom to masturbate for a whole month. And make money.
wait, so we're not free to do it? How the
Well,
fuck?
you know.
Does it not work
You
like
know
that?
what I mean. So anyway, oh my god. Sex toy races. So I'm gonna give you. So in Vegas is going all in with the newest way to waste money: sex toy races. And may the vibrator with the most buzz vibrate across the finish line first. The new bar game, played by up to 8 people, pits 4 battery-powered dildos against one another in a 1.5 mile per hour race against the cock.
They can't text. They put the checker lane like a game of chess. You wanna beat, nigga, bring your best. We be standing in your front yard yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, hey. Put the black gay yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the front yard yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out.
Yep.
That's funny shit.
Yep.
What do you say about something like that?
So, like,
Pinky won, apparently.
apparently the pink one won. Dude, that's crazy.
That was
Like-
just fun. It's sort of like, wow, we just watched a dildo race.
So I
It's
think
sort of like watching a political election.
I think we should have sex toy races on the show.
We could.
Speaking of that, guess who's coming to visit us next week?
Santa Claus?
No.
I guess.
But the awesome, amazing Barbara Hurst is coming
Yay.
to talk about sex toys with us some more.
Yay.
Her and Teresa, most likely.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna have her in the studio next week.
I want to try to get the Bongathon guys on here too.
Yes, I have a feeling we're gonna have a really busy week next week. I don't.
Quite possible.
Okay, so anyway, speaking of Barb, who's gonna be here next week, she is actually hosting an event in Longmont. The event is open to the public on May 30th from 4 o'clock to about 8 o'clock with a Thursday jazz jam with Dominate 5. They are looking for vendors to set up tables and display their wares. The vendor fee is $35 plus a door prize. So you have to donate a door prize, plus you got to pay $35 for a booth. $35 for a fucking booth ain't that bad. It will be at the Speakeasy at 3rd Avenue and Main Street in Longmont. So basically, it's kind of an event just to like kind of bring out local family-owned businesses. You set up and show people what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to think about this family-owned businesses and somebody coming out with dildos.
Barb is bringing out dildos, man.
That's awesome.
like
we can help cut down on the size of families if more people would use them their dildos.
Right.
There's no reason why somebody should have 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 kids. I mean, if you've hit 5, you should stop.
Oh, man.
5's even a little much.
That's kind of judgmental.
Sure it is. But we're all judgmental pricks. Some of us can just admit it.
Right?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We got 5 minutes, and then we're going to
What
call.
to tell you.
We're going to call Warren.
If you're going to have more than 2 kids, if you're going to have more than 1 fucking kid, just be able to take care of your kid.
Right.
And if you can't take care of your kid, be willing to admit that you can't fucking take care of your kid. Don't pretend that you fucking can.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be a douchebag.
So, yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, all right.
Oh, fuck. Sometimes I just want to go on a rant, and I have to stop myself.
I don't know. I still think we should have a little rant section.
You know what really grinds my gears?
There you go.
Dude, on the way here, I really seriously thought you were going to jump out of the car in traffic. Because I drove today.
There were some scary times. There was that one moment where I was pretty sure that it did not feel like you were aware that the entire highway was coming to a stop.
I was totally aware, but the lane next to me wasn't, so I got in that one.
Yeah.
Dude,
that car was coming at us pretty fast.
You freak out. Like, not freak out, but, like, you get upset if I get, like, all tense in the seat next to you.
Dude, there's no way that I could drive with me. No way.
Exactly.
Unless I'm in chill mode, which
I think you pretty much
sometimes.
drove with you today.
And I thought about that when we were flying around that one car, and I thought, wow, is this what I do to people?
Yes, actually it is.
Holy crap. If anyone's ever rode with me, I'm really sorry. I got shit under control. Does that say what I thought it said?
Anal medicinals.
Nice.
I think we should hold it up there right in front of that. It's like medicated lube. Whose is this actually? That's awesome. Whoa. And then there was one. I don't know what just happened. That's awesome. Yeah, let's cut to commercial, and when we come back, we will call Warren and talk about Amendment 64 and all the shit that's going down with the UID. Where'd you go?
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including House and Garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
Tired of dispensary hopping? Trying to find quality meds? Look no further and get to know Greenworks. Our shops are stocked with over 20 strains of organically grown meds, including R4, the highest tested CBD strain in Colorado. Yes, we back up our quality with testing. While Greenworks offers only the highest quality meds, we don't believe in high prices, with eighths ranging from $20 to $40 and ounces capped at $175. With 2 centers in Denver and 1 in Glenwood Springs, we're likely closer than you think. Call 303-647-5210 to find the location nearest you.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
The National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Sex Pot Radio, and it is Tuesday, May 7th.
And I'm eating jelly beans. I just want to say that. We get some answers. Hopefully.
Bring, bring.
Hello, this is Warren Edson speaking.
Hi, Warren. How are you?
Good. Jenny?
Yes, it is.
Greetings.
I almost didn't answer because it was such an unusual prefix.
It is a weird number that comes up. A lot of people don't answer when they see it.
Yes, very strange.
How are you doing today?
Okay.
Nice.
Given all the chaos.
Yeah, it's been some craziness here in Colorado today.
Definitely.
We're hoping that you have some answers, or at least know a little bit.
I probably don't have many answers. I can give you some updates at least.
Yeah, that's fine.
For the out-of-state listeners, we prior to today in Colorado had a driving under the influence of drugs regulation. However, it previously required law enforcement and the prosecutors to prove intoxication as part of the conviction. So there was no set standard number or anything that the prosecution could point to say, oh, that means Mr. X is stoned. But as of today, we now have, unfortunately, a 5 nanogram limit that is set. And most of the in-staters have been overwhelmed with the amount of information. But in Colorado, we're talking 5 nanograms whole blood, which is not... People talk all the time about urine tests and things like that, and THC staying in your system for 30 to 45 days. Whole blood tests aren't that bad. But there isn't much scientific basis to show that 5 nanograms is intoxication, and in fact, there's a lot of evidence that would show that somebody could have 15, 20, 25 nanograms of THC whole blood in their system as many as 2-3 days after imbibing if they're regular users. So that was very disappointing to have passed. Now, some of the technical nature of it, not to get too lawyerly on everybody, is it's slightly better because it's called a permissible inference, meaning you're not automatically guilty, but your attorney could present information that 5 nanograms didn't, that you weren't intoxicated that night, as opposed to the legalese called per se, which means, if you're 5 nanograms, you're guilty, you can't do anything. So there's a slight opening there. And there are a couple other things that the prosecutors can't use your red card, meaning the fact you're a medical marijuana patient, in their case against you, and the red card isn't probable cause to stop. So overall, that's okay, but the rest of it sucks. 5 nanograms will result in innocent people being convicted of DUID.
So what about?
So did I lose you?
They're gonna draw the blood. They're gonna do. Is that gonna be like the diabetes test where they just prick your finger and they can actually take your DNA from you?
No, it's going to be worse than that. It's actually going to be drawing blood. Now, we're not quite to the point where we're going to have law enforcement on the side of the road sticking a needle in, but we're pretty damn close. Currently, if you get stopped for an alcohol-related offense, you have your choice between breath and blood. If you choose blood, they take you back to the station or wherever and have a licensed person draw your blood. This will be a variation of the theme in terms of you have a choice of blood or blood, and if you refuse, we take your license for a year. And at the point you say, well, geez, I guess I don't want to automatically lose my license for a year. I guess then you choose blood, and you end up having to go somewhere and have your blood drawn, where they then test it to see what nanograms you are and whether or not they're going to charge you with DUID. Wow. Now, the weird, screwed-up part here in our state, too, is that we have something called an expressed consent law. And that's actually, every state has it. It's just, in most states, it says that if you choose to drive on this state's highways, then you're expressly consenting to a blood and breath test as to alcohol, okay? So, like, you're waiving your right to, you still have a right to object to it, but you're consenting to it. So, if you refuse, they can suspend your license. And they are applying that expressed consent law here as well, so they're hoping that will get them around the recent Supreme Court case, which talked about you needing a search warrant in order to draw people's blood.
I would hope that would stand. I mean, that's the most angering thing, to think that I could be driving and get pulled over because my windshield has a crack in it. And believe it or not everybody has $500 or $600 extra to get their fucking windshield fixed every time a damn rock hits it. And so I get pulled over, and because I'm a medical patient and medicated on a regular basis, I'll never get to pass one of those tests. And I absolutely refuse to give up my blood to a fucking cop. And I hate to point movies out to anything or anybody, but I'm gonna drop one movie title that you wouldn't expect, but there's a movie out there called The Sixth Day. Maybe you've seen it, maybe not. With Arnold Schwarzenegger, got his DNA taken. Fuck that. But it's, anything like that is possible, but nobody has the right to take my DNA. I don't see how they can just take that from you on their faulty suspicion.
To play a little bit of devil's advocate, for a cop to extend from you have a broken windshield to you have a choice of, me drawing your blood or you losing a license for a year, they do need probable cause.
Well,
so the problem for me is, so technically they need to smell marijuana or some indication that you're intoxicated in order to take it that next step. Unfortunately, too often in courtland, we see officers who are willing to bend the truth. Hey, you had a widespread panic sticker in the back of your car. You're long hair. And there's a yes on 64 sticker in your car as well. Window rolls down, and miraculously, all of a sudden, officer smells marijuana. And the search begins, and they find a roach in the ashtray or a bowl in the center console or behind the passenger seat or whatever, and it quickly expands. So, if you're a cannabis user in the state of Colorado or a cannabis user visiting the state of Colorado, please mind your traffic P's and Q's. Don't speed. Use your blinker. Don't have a cracked windshield. Make sure your car is fully registered. Your plates aren't expired. If you don't give them a reason to stop you, they can't then expand it. That puts us in a horrible position. But unfortunately, that's the way it is as of today. Actually, July 1st, to be technical, after the governor signs it.
That's right, when we celebrate that pretend holiday of July 4th.
Governor signing day.
Yeah. Jeez.
So I mean, that was the unfortunate nature of the DUID stuff today. We also had a commercial tax totaling 25% pass on marijuana. Weirdly, that's a good thing because the other option appeared to be a 35% tax. So, hooray, we got the lesser of the exorbitant, outrageous taxes.
So
But
does that take the repeal down, or are they still threatening that now that they got their
No.
tax?
the repeal did it last night in the middle of the night.
So
And
that's
in
dead.
fact, the weird nature of the repeal for folks from out of state, there's discussions of putting something in play that said unless enough taxes were generated and passed to allow the recreational program to pay for itself in terms of regulating and monitoring and all that, then it wouldn't go into play. That created this weird scene where we had the Republicans then arguing for a lesser tax because they were hoping that it wouldn't cover the costs and tank the whole thing. And we had Democrats and pro-64 people arguing for the bigger tax to make sure it covered the cost of the program. And all in all, the consumer, be it a medical consumer or a recreational consumer, gets fucked. But that's the way it's set up. And I guess the lower tax wins. Oh, yay. What pissed me off about this whole process is not once during this process did somebody say, hey, didn't we just get an audit of the Medical Marijuana Enforcement Division, and didn't it show that they were blowing money out their ass? And wouldn't you think if we re-examined the program, we could probably reduce the cost of monitoring this, which would mean we wouldn't need this many taxes? But, that was never mentioned, in part because nobody wanted to really get into how poorly Med has been running for the last couple of years, whether it's the government folks who help set it up and support it, or whether it's the marijuana industry folks who don't really want it to get out to the general world that, Med hasn't tracked shit for the last 2 years.
Right.
So that was the fun tax stuff. And holy crap. We can now talk about 1317, which was the wonderful bill which created the framework for, I guess, what's supposed to be recreational marijuana.
Right.
Again, for the listeners out there, our wonderful government in this state was supposed to create framework that they then turn over to the Department of Revenue, which will help us set up a recreational marijuana business. Amendment 64 was passed by the voters overwhelmingly and told the legislature that they have till July 1st to make rules. October 1st is when people are supposed to be able to start applying, and January 1st, 2014, they're supposed to start issuing licenses for recreational businesses. So that's the overall framework. What we ended up with is an absolute clusterfuck. But yeah,
most of us were pretty sure that was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I guess part of me was like, God, we already bashed our heads against the wall for 2 solid, almost 3 solid years on this medical marijuana thing. You'd think people wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel, but apparently everybody did. We went through months of little silly rulemaking committees that didn't really decide much, made recommendations that nobody followed, and we have this crazy-ass array of regulations that include continued forced vertical integration for about the next 9 months, no new folks coming into the industry for about 9 months, buying caps on out-of-staters of a 1/4 ounce per purchase. I guess that's supposed to prevent them from stocking up and leaving the state, but of course they can go to every store in the state and buy a 1/4 ounce, and it's going to treat the current medical marijuana and marijuana magazines like porn magazines, including High Times. Those are now going to only be for sale in medical marijuana centers, and behind the counter in bookstores. We have a craziness of no food and snacks that are non-medicated, and you heard me right. They prohibited the sale of non-medicated and giving away of non-medicated snacks in the medical marijuana centers, including but not limited to like having a soda machine.
You're fucking kidding.
Wow.
So you can't give
No,
waters
yeah,
out?
seriously.
You can't.
That was added as, let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it was, I don't know which amendment it was today. Actually, it wasn't. It just stayed in, and they kept trying to amend it out, and that failed. What else did they do today? I'm trying to stay away from the collective thing and leave that to the end. They screwed with edibles pretty bad in that now.
Did they post the limits?
Go. Sorry, Jeremy?
Did they do the limits? Like I heard that they were going to limit them to like 10 milligrams per item or something. So you're going to have to eat like 30 candy bars to get to your fucking 300 milligram limit.
Almost sillier than that.
Oh, geez.
They said they defined the serving size as 10 milligrams. For who a serving size is 10 milligrams, you got me. But that is the apparent official serving size. They originally went into this morning with a total cap per edible product of 100, but then there was a bill introduced to modify that where, how do I describe it? The packages within the package, each little internal package can be no more than 100. So like if you have a candy bar that's normally 300 milligrams, it can be packaged together, but inside it's going to have 3 separate breakdowns of 100 milligrams each.
Wow, that means like the Buddha bar has to be broken up into 3 little strips and repacked. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's clearly going to mess with some long timers like, Twirling Cheesecake and some of those places, and throw a monkey wrench into her plans. I mean, it's going to be tough to little mini cheesecakes or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's just a pain in the ass to be a pain in the ass.
When I saw her point that she made in her Westward interview or that story that I saw circulate yesterday, where she said that people are still going to need to get to their dosage, and that just means that they have to eat more. So instead of trying to help people's diet, again, now you're back up to having to possibly, I mean, if a serving size is 10 milligrams, right, I mean, you could possibly have to eat 10 servings to get to your regular strength dose. I mean, imagine if you had to take 10 little tiny Tylenols to try to equal up to whatever the strength is of the other one, the regular Tylenol.
Yeah.
But
rather than one 800 milligram, you have to take 8 100 milligrams.
Right.
And all those 100 milligrams are still pretty much the same size because that's just, you can't sell a little teeny tiny speck of a pill.
Well, I mean, and let's talk about pills, because that would appear to include some of the pills that have come out with, high milligram levels in them, that are really effective for patients without the bulk, without the additional calories, without all that crap. Not crap, because
right.
Some patients just want effective pain relief without anything else. That will cut back on that. And then let's cut to the chase. We won't make names or something, but there are all these little chewy candies, right? That, I mean, if you're worried about somebody eating too many, I mean, those chewy candies are still going to be the same size, and they're going to be these little things with, 100 milligrams in each one, and it will still have the same alleged risk to whoever allegedly has a risk. I mean, the problem is once I even get into this category, it's also foolish. Like there is a risk that I can't even go there. But okay, let's suppose the kids are at risk. They could get a whole lot of little chewy things and consume them a lot easier than a cheesecake.
Right.
So it still, despite this ridiculous rule, doesn't get rid of, I guess, the alleged risk. But, these amendments were flying at the last second and just went on and on and on and on. Probably the most unsurprising one for me was that they banned Amendment 64 collectives. and Amendment 64 kind of drive-around buses. And that can only be seen as a direct response to Sunday's article in the Denver Post dealing with that very issue. But yeah, talk about a knee-jerk reaction, but an incredible one. They ruled that you can no longer assign your Amendment 64 growing rights to somebody else, which is certainly going to change a lot of people's business practices, or potentially will, and a pretty big deal.
So you can only grow your own if you're a recreational user.
Well, they didn't get rid of the language in 64 that says you can assist others in growing. It's just part of this that narrowed that definition of assist. For folks out of town, Google the Denver Sunday Post and read the article about these new collectives, recreational collectives, where companies were being organized, where you could assign the growing rights, and they do the work and deliver the stuff to you. That appears to be dead in the water. It still doesn't mean that I couldn't have a service that would go around assisting people with them doing the growing. But it takes away this idea that somehow they could assign that right to me and I could do all the growing work other than dropping off the marijuana and them paying me. So that's a pretty doozy for a lot of folks. There's some crazy advertising rules in there that are aimed at I guess, allegedly kids, but are certainly going to do some damage to magazines like Westward and even the Denver Post, who've had medical marijuana pop-up banners and things like that, which are now banned by this language.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't even have an ad for it? A banner?
Well, pop-up banners. Like, it appears you could have, you go to the Westward website and there's this thing on the side that says whatever, but where it, like, pops up on your screen and says, special this weekend at wherever. And both the Post and Westward have been running those pretty actively. So,
well, because it's what the people want, and so are they gonna?
Go.
Are they gonna? Was there any language about anything about when retail shops open and you can buy it? What do you do with it? You just take it back to your home and smoke it in your home underneath a blanket with a flashlight on in the dark in the basement, or are there
pretty much?
So there's
well,
still
you can
nothing
take it
for
to your home. You can take it to your friend's home. But right now we didn't get a formal definition of the words open in public, and Amendment 64 prohibits use that's open in public.
Right.
We still don't know what that means. Now we're going to see a lot of municipalities self-define that, meaning you're going to see the city of Denver or somebody like that, define open in public as whatever they define. And unfortunately, Denver started that process last night and is going to continue that process next week. That said, they did add marijuana, not medical marijuana because that was already there, but they did add marijuana to the Clean Air Act. And so what that means is public facilities, be they bars, restaurants, concert venues, now are supposed to prohibit marijuana smoking under the Clean Air Act ordinance. It also will affect hotels and motels. Basically, 75% of the rooms have to be smoke-free, and marijuana is now included in that. What does that mean? It's going to be hard to find a venue to hold things like the Cannabis Cup in the future.
Right. See, this is where the difference between legalization and regulation is being shown.
Yeah, and yes and no. And we saw I think we'll see some of those activities develop over the course of time. I mean, we're still in the beginnings of all this regulation and figuring all this stuff out. The beer fest didn't happen overnight. We saw the liquor industry develop with tasting rooms and all these kind of things. In fact, we just saw an example in the South Denver Beer Festival that happened last weekend. They set up to do a beer fest, and originally they were going to have an area of the beer fest that had home brewers who were giving out their home brew, and they were home brewers who were hoping to get liquor licenses. And damned if Department of Revenue didn't step up and say, hey, you can maybe do that, but if any of those home brewers do it and really want to get a liquor license in the future to be a producer, this is going to hurt their chance to do that. It's not just refined so they didn't do it. So it's not just refined to the weed world. It's across the board, regulation is everywhere. I'm hoping that we will now see people properly create true private clubs, because I think there is still room for that, where there could be cannabis use. I think you could also, remember the Clean Air Act talks about combustion more than it talks about vaporization. So I think there is also still some wiggle room there with that. But of course, with the club situation, folks are actually going to have to abide by frigging case law, which defined what is and isn't a legal club, as opposed to, me renting a venue and saying everybody who pays me $5 to get in is in my club, even though I'm not keeping a list, never having meetings, don't have board meetings, don't have, membership rules. I'm just kind of winging it. So I think you'll see that kind of, if people are going to go that direction, that's going to need to be cleaned up a bunch. The real problem is going to be venue owners not willing to rent you a space because they're concerned about the effect on their other parts of their business.
Right.
It's crazy. This lot happening, and doesn't the last day of legislation, isn't that this Wednesday?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Not really, because tomorrow's a bunch of pomp and circumstance and parties and drinking and balloons, and they don't really do work tomorrow.
Right, so it's over.
So it cut to the chase. It went through third reading in the Senate today. It's done. It now goes to the governor for signature.
We certainly can't count on him to do the right thing ever.
I used to have a whole lot of faith. For your listeners so that they're aware, once upon a time when Amendment 20 passed, way back before he was our governor and was just a simple brewer who owned a brewery restaurant, friggin' Governor Hickenlooper threw the victory party for Amendment 20 way back in the year 2000 on the second floor of the One Coop Brewery, and he threw in a keg and some free food, and a bunch of folks were there. And now 13 years later, yeah, he's going to sign that sucker.
Damn.
A couple good things. As horrible as this feels for those of us who've been sitting around in a state that's been pretty entertaining. January 1st, out-of-staters, in-staters, average Joes should be able to go buy marijuana just because they're over 21. Every average Joe in Colorado can now grow 3 and 3 plants without a hassle. Felons are going to be able to play in this industry 10 years after they burned their number. So that's actually a big step forward over the MMJ world. They are allowing out-of-staters to buy it, which, a lot of us were thinking might not actually happen. There's a lot of shitty stuff, but overall, holy crap, January 1st, we're going to be the only place in the United States where average Joe can, not a patient, go buy some weed. And I guess there's something to that. We've certainly seen while I think we'll see an influx of DUID arrests, overall, we've seen a whole lot less hassle on the basic ounce and under. And, at the point real people are going to be able to retail sell marijuana, less arrests there in terms of versus the folks who've been in the black market selling it in the past. So while there's a lot of gloom and doom compared to like living in Oklahoma or Utah, overall, it's better than it could be.
It's true. First world problems, I guess.
Yeah, because we're first, man. I mean, we're building an industry from scratch for the second time in 4 years or whatever.
Right.
For some reason, we are the petri dish of America, and we enjoy the benefits and suffer the consequences of that.
So I think I read somewhere in Washington they're starting to send out a slew of letters to their dispensaries now. Do you know anything about like any new kind
Way
of
too much
crackdowns?
Yeah, Washington's getting killed by federal letters now. I mean, how bizarre is this? We are the only. I mean, we sit here having gotten the get away from school letters months and months and months ago, and the vast majority that got those letters didn't close, but in fact moved. And now we've settled back into place, without, knock on fake wood here, any federal involvement. And we sat through a complete legislative session as of tomorrow night at midnight without any federal involvement. And we passed rules that will allow retail sales of marijuana without any federal involvement. It appears they're going to let us roll this out. Holy crap.
It was pretty sensational. So the repeal is definitely
and that's
off.
The thing. You and I and Jenny can sit down and bitch and moan, and then I have to keep kicking back in my chair and being like, okay, all this minutia sucks, but in the end, wow, we're going to be the first place in the world, technically, where you can go in and an in-stater can buy an ounce of weed and an out-of-stater can buy a quarter. Because if you don't know, Amsterdam limits you at 5 grams personal weight. So, I mean, even the out-of-staters will be able to buy more here in Colorado than they can buy in Amsterdam.
Damn. So I want to know how they're going to keep up with the supply here. I mean,
they aren't.
The dispensaries can barely keep up with the quality supply. How can, if instead of selling to 150,000 Coloradans, they're going to be able to sell to millions of people?
We're looking at 1 million too. Is the low numbers for the new consumer level. So the consumption's going to multiply by a tenfold, but we won't really have an immediate increase in production, which is part of my frustration, Jeremy, with this whole forced vertical integration thing, which is, for out-of-staters, again, this idea that if you own a retail store, you have to grow your own, and there can't be independent growers who then wholesale to the retail stores. Because certainly if we allowed independent growers, bingo, there's how you meet that demand. But that's not going to happen for a long, long time, and it's going to throw both the recreational user and the medicinal user into a quandary of lack of weed for the next year at least.
Well,
at least.
Do dispensaries, will there still be a dispensary model, or are they just doing away with that all around?
Well, the dispensary model will exist. It'll just be whether or not it's economically feasible. Because in this new recreational world, in terms of your plants, you'll pay to play by canopy space. Meaning the state's going to not talk about plant numbers, but more talk about the size of your grow. And the bigger your grow, the more you have to pay. Currently in medical marijuana land, you not only have to pay to get a permit to grow a certain number of plants, but then you have to get patients who name you as your primary center in order to get that permission to grow. So if all of a sudden we don't have as many patients in this state, there'll be less medicinal places that will have the authority to grow from the patients. So it'll be harder for them to survive. On top of that, obviously, there's going to be more money to have in the recreational world, so that's going to be a temptation as well. And you really want to blow your mind, Jeremy. I mean, the weirdness of this whole thing, and I don't want to rag on, the industry owners and all this too much, because a whole lot of them had nothing to do with this. But if you didn't know it, right now we have all this medical marijuana. On October 1st, if I owned a dispensary and wanted to notify the state, hey, on October 1st, Warren's Wonderful Weed is going to turn from a medicinal to a recreational place. So I file my application October 1st to transition over. And magically, on New Year's Eve, my marijuana that on December 31st belonged to patients and was medical marijuana magically becomes recreational marijuana when the bell chimes on New Year's Eve and I convert over. So I get like inventory right there out of nowhere. And we started to do some simple math, and the numbers are crazy in terms of if you assume that an ounce of marijuana is approximately $175 in Colorado, and if you have a patient with 6 plants, and each plant is ounces, it's something like $2,800 per patient. If you then talk about more like a pound per plant, that number instead goes up to like $17,000 per patient in terms of plant weights that's sitting there that one day is the patient's and the very next day belongs 100% to the retail center. Some really weird stuff in there. Like instead of saying, hey, you got 3 months to prepare, no, just take their weed.
Wow. So,
dude, Jeremy, for me, that's a governmental taking. And the government can't come and take my house. They certainly shouldn't be able to come and take, if I was a patient, my marijuana and give it to anybody. So if I'm hoping we'll see some action before that actually happens, or we'll see the patients kind of rise up around Thanksgiving and be like, screw you, I'm taking my plants back from all these centers. Because if they did that, it would muck the whole thing up. I mean, January 1st, we have a bunch of centers with no weed because the patients took their plants back.
So if you sign, say it's October 17th, and you sign Warren's Wonderful Weed as your caregiver on that day, you have to wait 90 days or 120 days.
Yeah, so you're screwed at that point.
So 4 months.
I mean,
so
if
you've
you sign up
somebody,
a new center within that 120 days, you can't remove your privilege.
So if you've signed somebody from September 1st on, you're fucked. So there's no way
for you to remove to withdraw your rights for them to grow.
So,
and frankly, most people like their center and they wouldn't want to screw the center over. I mean, but it's just kind of this whole weird concept that they're building an industry off the backs of the patients.
Yeah,
I mean, they're literally
exactly.
building it off the plants of the patients.
They are. They're offer you a free eighth at sign up. If you sign us as your caregiver, we'll give you one free eighth, and then you get $5 off.
And in January, we get $17,000 worth of your weed. Thanks.
So
that was the most expensive eighth ever.
At that point, will you not be? If you've signed somebody, okay. So back to that. Say on October 17th, I sign you as my caregiver. On January 1st, am I no longer allowed to grow my own plants? Or even if I have you signed as my caregiver, your facility.
On January 1st, if your center has converted over to recreational, you have nobody growing your medicinal weed.
So are you allowed to grow weed at that point?
Well, if you're a patient, you could grow for yourself. Now, granted, if you're in Denver, you're capped at 12 plants. But, as a patient, you then are free to grow for yourself or reassign those grow rights to what's remaining of the medical marijuana centers.
Well, how long are we going to be allowed to, quote, be patients? I mean, when are they just going to dissolve
Well, nobody's
MMD?
getting rid of your patient status. It's just what good is it going to be if there's no place you can buy medicinal marijuana from?
Right.
It'll give you the ability to carry 2 ounces instead of 1. It'll give you the ability to grow your own or create because keep in mind, Jeremy, we're talking, because I had a lot of things on my Facebook today from caregivers. What I'm talking about is recreational marijuana in Amendment 64. It should not affect caregivers, okay? So if patient A wants to sign up Warren's Wonderful Weed as their caregiver, and I'm acting as that person's direct caregiver, that can still happen, and as a caregiver, I could have 5 people and myself still. Not great, but that still exists.
Right.
expanded plant count still exists for patients too. So, I mean, that's again another reason to keep your patient status.
So it's possible that the red card program may not even be in existence in another year or two. That just may phase itself out because there's just no.
I have to get pretty paranoid to get there. I think that we'll get the red card program. You know, if I'm guesstimating, it's going to go back to the old numbers of like under 10,000 people. And there'll be a couple of MMCs still, meaning medical marijuana centers. But we'll see, because, I mean, it's such a weird game, Jeremy, because if you think about it, and you're currently a medical marijuana center, there might be some value for the first year or two of not becoming a recreational and having product for your customers and not running out because you don't open the door to average Joe six-pack. But that's a weird part of this market. And the other weird part about this new market is, I mean, you guys know, the folks that are smoking medical marijuana now are generally folks who really seriously need it medicinally or who really, really want it and enjoy marijuana and medical marijuana, so they go through the hassle of getting their red card. I mean, it's the equivalent of a wine connoisseur. You know, these this one people. I mean, real connoisseurs of marijuana. This next 900,000 to 1.2 million folks, this is Joe Sixpack from Highlands Ranch, who isn't a craft beer guy. He goes in and buys Pabst Blue Ribbon. And I have no idea. They're not going to care as much about strains and this and that. They're going to care that they no longer have to wait for this dealer that they half-ass know to get a bag once a month and go snag it. I mean, they're going to be so excited to walk in a place with hours and buy it. They're not going to care about these taxes. It's cheaper than what they pay on the corner. So it'll be interesting to see what this next round of Joe Six-Pack smokers does to the whole marijuana and medicinal marijuana community. Because I think it'll have an effect and change things. It's a whole different consumer base.
Well, see, now I wonder if, one of the benefits already to going to buy an ounce at a dispensary for $175 is I have to pay city tax. If city tax is 9.7%, then on $100 I'm paying $9.70. I'm not paying, $300 ounce, paying 25% of that and spending $300 whatever dollars, so already there, staying medical has its benefits to save you giving the government unnecessary money, which we do on every single thing as is. So,
because medicinal, you'll just stuck with that city tax. Recreational, you'll get a 25% tax on top of that city tax. So, right, we're talking up to 35% tax. So that $100 half is now $135 half, And then on top of that, if there really is this lack of supply, that's going to raise the price as well. And obviously then also increase the tax rate, because if it's now a $200 half as opposed to a $100 half, the tax will double as well. So we're going to have a crazy whiplash that's going to be the opposite of this price decrease we saw about a year ago. Potentially with the price of weed going through the roof. And then I'm not sure why the medicinal guys would hold their price down. Right. Supply, demand, economics, all that fun stuff. Demand is going to go up. Supply is going to remain the same. What happens next? Price goes up to compensate. And then we'll have some back and forth, which is why some of these bastards built in this vertical integration to keep us from trying to meet that supply number, to meet demand.
Well, it's fun to watch how this works. Not always the fun part of fun, but holy shit.
I always jokingly say, hopefully, there's some, brilliant young stoner MBA at University of Denver getting their master's and or doctorate, sitting there, watching this whole thing play out, studying this and recording this for history, because there's nothing like this. And the next 12, 16, 18 months is going to be amazing, particularly if the feds don't step in. Both good and bad, it's going to be amazing.
Now, why do you think that they haven't stepped in? Do you think it's because the fact that we wrote it into our Constitution, or that we're the only for-profit state?
I'm more pessimistic and jaded than that, Jeremy, man. I would tell you it's because as a state, we immediately got our state and locals addicted to the tax revenue and licensing fees of the medical marijuana industry. And at the point they started collecting that, as a lawyer, what are they? Co-conspirators, right? I mean, what's happening? Our state government, our city government takes money that's, according to the feds, from illegal drug sales. And what do? They take it in, they deposit it in their own bank, and it goes back out to the general public and as income. So they're money laundering. Without our former governor, who used to be a district attorney, Ritter, signing off on 1284 and 1043, this industry wouldn't exist. So, I mean, it gets pretty complicated if the feds really wanted to come in and swoop through and arrest people who are going through this licensing process, because they couldn't do it without the help of our government. And seriously, I mean, it sounds sarcastic and whatever, but this is a total RICO thing. I mean, this is the equivalent of organized crime, and no other state's like that. I mean, Washington doesn't have an organized system. Oregon doesn't have an organized system collecting fees and stuff. Michigan just got there, so we're going to see that happen there. But that's all I can come up with that's kept them out of us while they're up to their neck everywhere else. I mean, California is burning. We saw a Supreme Court decision out of the California Supreme Court come out yesterday allowing the locals to ban collectives and cooperatives, and you're going to see that spread across the state like wildfire now that that's clarified. While we sit here, and Harborside's landlord is looking at a 40-year federal sentence, because Harborside won't move, and the feds are looking at them saying, hey, your building's being used to sell massive amounts of weed, and that's illegal federally. In absolute chaos, and yet here we sit.
That is true. Perspective really puts things out there. I've gone to some of the rallies up in Wyoming, up at Cheyenne, which is like 15 minutes away from the Colorado border, where we're safe and legal. And when we've gone up there and stood there with our signs and our flags and our bullhorns smoking joints, and the locals look at you like, holy shit, who the fuck are you? You're crazy. And it's weird to think that 15 minutes away, I'm free, almost free as a bird in some respects.
I mean, a real good friend of mine spent 10 days in jail in Wyoming just 3-4 months ago over an eighth.
Yeah, it's weird what an eighth will get you in some places.
Yeah, I mean, don't go to Utah at all, ever. Don't go to Oklahoma at all, ever. So,
or Montana.
As bitch and moany as I get, you got to kick back in the big old chair and look at it friggin' country-wise or even worldwide and realize that as much as I hate a lot of what's going on here, it's better than most everywhere else.
You're absolutely right. Hell,
right. Florida's banning bongs. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, fuck. It's weird. Yeah. It's a free country, but we're not that free. But we do got to reflect on the freedoms that we do have. It is interesting to think that it's May, so we're 7 months away from seeing legal retail marijuana stores in our lifetime.
Yeah, seriously, and kick back and think. I mean, something that is more progressive than Amsterdam, more progressive than Portugal, January 1st should roll in here. Wow. I mean, frankly, somebody could fly here from Amsterdam and buy a quarter of weed. I can't fly to Amsterdam and do that.
And if you do it right, you just go to all the stores. See, I just don't see how that's going to work.
Legally, I mean, man, legally.
Yeah, I just don't see how the system's going to work itself. I mean, you're right. It's going to struggle real hard for the first year at least, not because people aren't being able to make money, but because this is a product that will never go out of demand.
Yep.
That's the joy of it. It's you can grow as much of it. It's like you could buy a million computers, and they're going to be outdated by the time you sell 1,000 of them. But weed, you can never grow enough. There will always be somewhere and somebody that will buy everything. And so, holy shit, it's amazing to think what's about to happen from the center of the country.
Well, and you're right, Jeremy, because there are ways around, and not even around, because around sounds so lawyerly, sleazy, shady. I mean, what do? You look at the Clean Air Act. It says a hotel, motel, 75% of it has to be non-smoking, 25% of it can be smoking. But that doesn't mean that the 75% can't have vaporizers that folks sign out, like incredibly fancy ones. It doesn't mean that there can't be a big communal room, potentially in the 25%, where the folks that are in the 75% who really want to combust something can't go and hang out when they want to. I mean, what is it, Hilton or Hyatt that has that, like, if you're in the upper end, you can go and there's the honor bar and the free snacks and the nice hangout room. I mean, variations of that can be developed that are so above and beyond anything that's going on anywhere in the world. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. I had something I wanted to say, and then I thought away from it, and fuck. I hate that.
Well, it opens up all this weird entrepreneurial ideas, and people are just going to have to think a little harder, because it's going to have to go beyond my Gab bus and a website. They're actually going to have to work it more.
Well, and so the internet tax thing passed too, didn't it? So that's
the federal thing. I was so busy today watching all this other crap. I unfortunately didn't pay attention to the internet federal tax at all.
It's strange to think that our country, I thought, we were taught, was founded because our ancestors were angry about taxes, and it seems to me that there's
taxes and religion, right?
Right.
And now we're up to our ears in taxes and religion.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and we just can't. So and what happened last time, that was the problem. I mean, it's going to happen this time, and technology's far too advanced for another revolution to I think, go over successful without absolute police state. I don't know, whatever. Let's just enjoy the weed.
Yeah, it's, again, everybody needs to stay tuned for the next 18 months and see what the heck happens here. And certainly, come January, if you're a marijuana connoisseur, this is a state where you'll be able to come to and walk into a store, show your Florida, Oklahoma, whatever it is ID, and buy a quarter ounce and walk down the block and go in and check ID again and buy another quarter ounce. And, I mean, let's cut to the reality, Jeremy. How many folks have rented hotel rooms in their human existence, consumed cannabis in the room, and really never had an issue with it? I'm wondering how many of these hotels are really, it's just going to be, I think, a whole lot of don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
You don't stink that room up, you don't annoy your neighbors in your hotel, and we'll be just, the Hyatt's full.
Exactly.
We're okay with the Hyatt being full as long as nobody complains that the thing's full of weed.
See, now I remember what I wanted to say is on the subject of vaping, where I think that's going to end up becoming an issue is because of the vape pens. Like I use my e-cigarette here, my nicotine stick, and I rip on it all the time. And one out of maybe every 500 people think that it's an e-cigarette, but 499 of everybody else says, "Oh, are you smoking hash all the time?" And so,
well, here's the thing, though, man. Like, different things. The Clean Air Act talks about combustion, right? But Amendment 64 talks about open and public use, which is broader than combustion.
Much.
So I think we'll see a bit of a crackdown on open and public vape pen use and that kind of thing, okay? Depending on, once again, how we talked about before, how they define. Because, see, I have to get too lawyerly. The courts have defined what is open, and the courts have defined what is public. But part of 64 tied those words together with the word and. Not or, but and. which means it has to be open and public at the same time. And so that's the definition we're looking for to clarify, frankly, whether Mile High Stadium is open and public, because you need a ticket to get in there. Okay?
Right.
And that's what we wait and see. Is the park open and public? Yeah, it is. You know? Is the 16th Street Mall open and public? Yeah, it is. Are restaurants open in public? Yeah, they are. So we'll start to see a crackdown on some of that stuff. But it's the with restrictions aspect of it, which is the ticket thing, and how that plays out that we'll have to see.
Well, now, is it the same because you have to pay to get into the stadium? Say you go to...
That's my argument, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, say you go to an all-you-can-eat restaurant where you know the general public can't just walk in. I mean, they can walk through the door, but they're escorted out if they're not willing to pay to get past the beginning part. So does
problem
that count?
there is that restaurants are considered open in public because everybody's allowed to come in and see. You know,
right?
Hey, come on in and sit down, check out the menu. If you don't like what's on the menu, you can leave. I mean, you can't go into the Broncos game, sit down, and be like, "Oh man, they suck this quarter." You know, I'm leaving. You know, you can't go to the concert at Cervantes and be like, "Oh, geez, that was a horrible tea leaf green set. I'm not going to stay for the second half." So you know, you literally have to pay to play, and there's a limited number of people that can get in. That's why I'm hoping they keep the line. Do I have faith that they will? No.
Well,
but you know, that's what I'm hoping.
But they should, though, because
May 13th, Denver's going to vote on it, most likely. Denver City Council.
Well, isn't there
and that'll
drinking in public law? I mean, you can't drink in public, right?
Correct.
But you can drink at a ball game.
Yes, because they have special liquor license that allows you to do that. See, and that's what I was talking earlier about the development of the system. Like, I wonder if in 5 years, 4 years, 10 years, there'll be the equivalent of that, where you can go into Coors Field and they'll have a weed license that will allow one corner of the stadium to, you know, allow consumption as well as sale of blah, blah, blah.
See, and they already have the smoking sections. If you get behind the little yellow line and stand with everybody and breathe all their secondhand smoke that we already know is bad for you, maybe they'll have a little green line somewhere, like a little bus stop green line, something that you stand behind and you can consume your cannabis back there.
Well, I'm not sure with time that won't happen. It's just going to take a little time.
Oh, yeah, it's going to have to. It's not going to happen overnight as much as we want it to.
Just the idea of 5-6 years ago that we'd have retail stores is mind-numbing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it was awesome in 2008, 2009 when the dispensary explosions happened, and went from 4, 5, 10 to 400 or 500 pretty much overnight, and all of a sudden you could drive down Colfax and you're like, oh my God, there's a weed leaf. Holy shit, you could go in there and buy weed. And I remember driving around for that whole year just in awe, and now it's no big deal. You pass them like you pass a liquor store, and it's like, who cares? But
but then you invite your friends here, or you go somewhere else, and it's all of a sudden, whoa, okay. I mean, the beauty of this whole thing has been we really do have more medical marijuana centers than Starbucks. We really do have almost as many as liquor stores in Denver, and the world hasn't imploded. And don't think soccer mom and soccer dad haven't noticed. That's partly how we passed 64. I mean, we went through this crazy-ass explosion, and crazy-ass shit didn't follow.
Like they said it was going to, though. The whole world was supposed
to
fall
like everybody
apart.
expected, other than what? Huge amounts of tax revenue, licensing revenue, without this goddamn 25% excise tax.
Right. So is on that note, in the language of 64, it said that X amount was supposed to go to schools. Is that still going to actually happen?
Jeremy, I think it will happen because I think we're going to be able to run the program cheaper than they're predicting. And so I think that money will go to the school. If the program gets bogged down in med buying $4,000 chairs and fleets of, black SUVs with all the bells and whistles, then no, there isn't going to be money for schools.
See, now, is there anybody pressing for where this tax money is going, or is this just, an extortion type thing? I mean, how
Well,
would...
no, we're doing it now. I mean, I'm the asshole who keeps bringing up the fact that med's pretty freaking inefficient, and maybe we should cut through whether or not that's embarrassing to the industry, or whether or not the industry's made statements that are contradictory to the fact that med really hasn't done a great job. It's already been audited. We know what needs to be fixed, and it just needs to be fixed. And the math needs to be redone. That's all.
Well, and perhaps if they stop making such stupid rules, saying that, well, every dispensary needs to have a camera in every corner that connects to a central database somewhere in the state. I mean, that right there is kind of ridiculous to think that, I don't know, that's far too much monitoring. I'm going to
do something unheard of and defend med. In Laura Harris, I trust. The new director of med seems headed in the right direction. She's already proposed getting rid of that very rule you talk about. And hopefully by next January, there won't be the live feed. There won't be as many cameras. There'll still be some. There won't be monthly reports. You'll still have to keep track, but it's silly to email them in every month and overload the system. Laura Harris, the director of med, has actually got some good ideas that she's saying she's going to implement. We'll see, but that's my hope.
Well, so hopefully there's a bright future here we'll see a new green rush, I'm sure. They thought that this was the Wild West before. They ain't fucking seen nothing yet.
I guess, man, but it's going to be an internal green rush because for the first 9 months or so, there are going to be no new players. The only players are the ones currently playing.
Right.
And we'll see if they have enough money to do this and the ability to do it. And no offense to anybody, but it took them a long time to figure out how to grow enough weed for medical patients.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're going to be able to quickly adjust to multiply that number times 10.
Right. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, there could be 1,000 people that come in a day from every single state. I mean, that's a small number. I mean, there could be, millions of new people every single month here in tourism just because of that. So there could be money to be made elsewhere other than just weed.
Oh, I seriously think I'm way underestimating it, a million too.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd rather underestimate than overestimate. So
right. Well, this has been quite the enlightening conversation. I'm glad that we get to go back and listen to this since it's recorded, because I had a lot of questions, and there's a lot of information out there that is information, disinformation, speculation, whatever, and it's nicer to get stuff that's a little more consolidated, a little more concise.
No problem, man. And listeners and you guys need to keep in mind that what happened and what passed today will be known as, 1317, just like we have, 1284 and 1043 and all those. And the real micro rules will be created by Laura Harris and Med and DOR. So, they always say the devil's in the details, and the details are yet to come. But we certainly have this broad brush stroke, which more bad than good, but, at least overall will let us have that retail industry come January 1.
It's going to be insane. It's less than a...
Yeah, it is. Patients need to cover their butts, though. I'm worried they're going to get the blunt end of this.
So is this something maybe we should try to start spreading a movement of sign your caregiver back to yourself by the end of August? Well, by August 31st?
Talk to Jerry Robnett, RX Mary Jane, and the whole patient crew. This whole thing is frustrating to me. And certainly if I were in that position, that's what I'd be doing. I'm hoping actually though that the industry responds in part with I guess marketing is the only way you can deal with this, even though it sounds so crass. I love my patient campaign. Hey, you keep this with me, and I promise to freeze your prices for the next 3, 6, 9 months, whatever the heck. Give the patient some value for the fact that the MMC is going to obtain the patient's marijuana. Because frankly, for most of these MMCs, it's not their fault. They're not one of these industry associations. They don't have a private lobbyist. They didn't lobby for this crap. It just kind of happened. And so I also feel bad for those patients that are going to feel the blunt of those industry members who are going to feel the brunt of the patient anger that should be directed at more of those industry members who created these damn rules.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we'll see kind of a back and forth, but it's got to start with the patients or else the industry won't bother to respond. Why would they?
Well, we see the success rate of that when at the rallies and the
that's my pipe dream, so you just heard it. I'm hoping.
right.
Because I don't want to hurt any of these business owners, man. But at the same time, if they're going to, build $1 million industry off the patient's 6 plants, that's not fair.
Right. I still think that people deserve more than what they get. I mean, the dispensaries, you're absolutely right, are thriving on us signing them as our caregivers. And, we get to buy weed anywhere we want anyway. So it's really just who has the best price and takes the best care of me as is. So it's
let's do some simple math, Jeremy, because when you start talking about, okay, a pound of plant at $175 an ounce, and that's probably overweight on the plant but underpriced on the ounce. I mean, you really are talking about $16,800 per patient. And if a center's got 200, 300, 400 patients, start doing the math. Holy crap.
Those are big numbers.
Big numbers.
Only going to get bigger.
I've been a Colorado Rockies season ticket holder since day one. Better or worse, one of the interesting things about the Rockies is they froze our ticket prices. So that $32.50 I paid 21 years ago for 11th row seats, I am still paying to this day.
Damn, that's
even though those
awesome.
seats now list for like $128 or something per game. As crappy as the Rockies organization has been run, I'm hoping the LMCs learn from that aspect of the organization as to their patients, but we'll see.
I don't know if they can get past the greed aspect of it. There's just so much possibility for money that I don't know. It's going to get weirder.
You'd think there'd be enough to go around to keep your patients happy, but we'll see, man. It's been a rough 2 years, and the next couple are going to be even rougher.
Right. Well, thank you
Anything
very
else,
much.
man?
No, that's probably good. I mean, there's a lot of information that came out tonight, a lot of smoothing out of some details and even some new perspectives on things. Because, while we are regulated, we still are going to have this in fucking 7 months. There's going to be retail stores here, and people are going to come here from all over the place.
Well, that's kind of one of the fun things about iCannabis Radio, Jeremy, is, these shows have got all types. Right? You guys have one perspective tonight. You have JDR going every day from 11 to 1 with, whatever Tim Martin's perspective is. But then you got a lab on Mondays. You got a magazine on Thursdays on their show. You got Georgia kind of representing, average soccer mom. So, over the next 6 months to a year, folks need to stay tuned because they'll get all those perspectives, in one place here. And that's going to be really interesting.
How do we get described? Like if you were on a different show saying that, what would you say about the crackpots on Sexpot Radio?
Well, you guys are Sexpot Radio. Mostly we scare off prospective tenants we don't like in our building by saying, just go to this show where she ties people up, and just keep that in mind for if you want to rent a space in our building.
Sweet. So we're the resident perverts then.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Hey, it kept the ad exec. It kept the advertising executive out. So that's what counts.
Oh my gosh.
Well, crap.
I love that we have Georgia and Gavin in the chat room.
I see you're not only average, Georgia. You are far above average.
She first said that you were very sexy, Warren, and now you got
great.
an F you. I'm only average with a question mark.
Yeah, so I would be scared to go into the next room because it may get weird.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for helping us answer some of these questions, Warren. We really do appreciate it.
No problem, Jenny. And always fun to be on. And sorry I was a nonstop motor mouth for the last hour. Because heck, I barely heard you talk, and that is so unusual.
That I know, right? I was just absorbing information.
It was
here,
a lot
so.
coming at you. I zoned out just listening to it, and it's like, wow, this is a lot coming in, and it's like I'm trying to remember everything. So when I go to talk to other people about it, I can give them the updates as we know them so far. And so one last question. So the repeal is off. Like they passed the tax, everybody's happy. There's no more repeal talks. That can just get squashed, right?
Yeah, the repeal died last night.
Okay.
So, and again, legislative session is done. You know, essentially at midnight tonight, it's all over unless the governor calls a special session, and he's not going to call a special session. So, you know, game over tonight, midnight. Tomorrow's balloons and parties, and everybody brings their kid to the Capitol, and we close for the year. Now, don't ask me why we're closing the first week of May instead of the first week of June like we normally do, but that's apparently what we decided to do this year.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it's almost
we needed
safer
another
that
month
way.
off.
Well, they should. The business of making laws is a dead business. It needs to stop. There needs to be a new business trend of making unlaws and undoing a lot of this bullshit. I mean, in the freest country on earth, we have millions and millions of laws. Like, they just need to stop making new ones. They just need to find a way to make money from unmaking old ones. You know, that needs to be a trend that needs to happen. That would be nice. It would
be nice, but good luck with that, man.
Yeah, no kidding. So thank you so much for your time.
I will talk to you guys eventually here.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.
So, all right, I feel like my head is chock full of information. That was a good last hour of Sexpot. Gave us some legal ground to get some understanding as to what's going on, because a whole lot of shit has happened. Really, if you look at the last couple of months, fucking gun rights, marijuana rights, civil unions. I mean, all kinds of things are either getting raised up or trampled down. There's a lot happening this year. This 2013, this whole 13th floor year. Fuck. It's crazy. So.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight.
We don't have a sexy story?
No, I don't. It's 10 after 8.
Who cares? A sexy story. Like 10 seconds sexy. Say something sexy.
Shut the fuck up. No,
that's not sexy.
I know.
I would have just said something sexy.
Something sexy.
Okay,
whatever. Anyway, so next, can I?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Did you want to walk home?
Oh, you want to play that, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he'll give you a ride. Anyway, next week on Sexpot Radio, we will have Barb Hurst in the studio with us. We'll be talking about some sex toys. Maybe we'll even have a vibrator race. Who knows?
We got this much room.
And we will also have my friend Ryan in as part of our healthy living segment. He's going to be talking about how he's dealt over the years with gastrointestinal problems and how changing his way of eating has helped change that.
That's that being aware of your body stuff you were talking about.
Exactly.
So we're going to continue on that then every week?
Yes.
Maybe, and try to see if we can better ourselves?
Yes.
Nice.
So everyone have a great week. Be sure to tune in for JDR tomorrow and all of the other shows on the iCannabis Radio Network. I'm not looking at the schedule right now, so. All right. Everyone have a great night.
It's been a pleasure.
We're out.